Manual breathing, swallowing, blinking, whatever it might be with sensorimotor OCD is not actually a problem. This is a really important thing to convey to people because I think, so often when we're dealing with these things, we get so perfectionistic about finding the exact way out of the problem. We need to do it in just the right way. We need to have the exact kind of solution figured out, mapped out exactly, because sensorimotor OCD is such a difficult thing to deal with. The only way we're going to solve it is by having that perfect map. And I think this actually becomes part of the problem where we're, trying to find that kind of solution so much. We're trying to pick it apart. We're trying to swallow in just the right way or, kind of find the exact solution to it. And, because you're being so perfectionistic and you're trying to think about it so much, you're being so logical about it, you're actually stopping the body from taking over and just doing these processes for you again. And actually, that's the most important thing in sensorimotor OCD. Really, what's happened is we've got so stuck in our own heads, thinking about this problem, trying to solve it, looking for the solution to it, that we go round in circles and we keep ourselves stuck. We end up getting more and more anxious because we're thinking about it so much. We're looking for the solution. We're not finding it. We're still aware of the problem. And then, of course, our anxiety is going to go up because of all of that, because whatever you're doing, it's not working. And that's infuriating and it makes you feel disempowered. When we realize that kind of manual swallowing, manual blinking, manual breathing, whatever it is, I think, when we're doing these things, there's this fear that, you're doing it on purpose. And so actually it's a compulsion. Therefore, it's bad. And if you're doing that, that's keeping the OCD going. So you have to figure out a way to never do that manual breathing or swallowing again. Because if you do, even if you just do it once or twice, it's bad. It's going to keep the whole cycle going and it's going to keep you stuck. This video is really all about helping you to realize that that isn't true. And if you are struggling with this, I do now have a 12-week program for sensorimotor OCD. If you're interested in applying for that, you can head over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes. I think the issue with manual breathing, blinking, swallowing, no matter what it is that we feel that we need to fix that. We think it's a compulsion. All compulsions are obviously bad in OCD, and we need to get rid of the compulsions. And whilst it is a compulsion, it's also kind of not a normal compulsion in a way, because it's sensorimotor, because you're obviously hyper-focused on these things. You might be feeling that you're doing it manually because you're so focused on it, but that's a little bit out of your conscious control. You've become obsessed about it. You notice it all the time. So of course, whenever you do it, you're going to feel like you're manually doing it. Well, in a way, it's just because you're so focused on it all the time. It's not necessarily completely under your conscious control. And I think the most important thing either way is to just leave it alone. If you're manually swallowing sometimes because you're so obsessed about it and it's constantly there in your awareness, you're noticing saliva or you're getting frustrated by the breath or the blinking or whatever. If you occasionally manually do it or you do it a lot, no problem. I think, it's not helpful to think of that as being a compulsion that's going to ruin everything. I think it's much better to just notice that it's there and to try your best to bring acceptance and compassion to it and allow your body to take over again by refocusing your attention back onto the present. For me, the most important thing that I found over the many years of struggling with this is that I had to learn how to let go of the control by bringing my attention back to my values and my goals to live more in the present moment. And when I did that, my body took over and it began solving these things on its own. The kind of idea of manual breathing, manual swallowing, no matter what it is, I think if you focus in on that too much, that you have to fix this, well, you just keep your attention on it. You make yourself more and more aware of it. And so, it's really about trying to move your attention outwards to make it more expansive. rather than using a spotlight of attention, it's about bringing more of a floodlight of attention and trying to focus more on what's going on around you, those activities, those goals, those values that bring meaning to your life. And so often when we do that, we do begin to come into the present moment. So many thanks, guys. I really hope that that you enjoyed that. Remember, I do now have a 12-week program for sensorimotor OCD. If you're interested in applying for that, you can by heading over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes. Many thanks, and I will see you next time. This video is for education only. It's not therapy or medical advice. If you're struggling, please speak with a licensed mental health professional.